South Africa have won the series against the West Indies with a very interesting last day of the test match. We only needed 3 days to complete this test match. And South Africa were very close, I would say, to not getting this victory in the end. Actually, it was quite nervy towards the end of this match. Actually, from the start of this day's play, I felt it was a little bit nervy from a South African standpoint. So there is a lot to talk about because we had to fight for this one. We had to put in a very good performance for this one to actually end up with a victory. It was a lot closer than a lot of us maybe would have hoped for, but in the end, South Africa got over the line and sealed this victory, and that is the most important thing, I guess, when you're looking at the situation of this match, because everybody obviously wants a victory from a South African standpoint, and we managed to do so, and we managed to get that win in this match. But so before we get going with today's review show, I just want you guys to first do a couple of things for me. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos, please. Very important that you all do so. It's how we stay alive on this particular on YouTube. Also, smash the like button, comment, and share. It's very important that you guys also do that because that's how we get into recommended feeds, and that's how our videos get recommended to new viewers on the channel, but also to the people that want to see our videos pop up in their feed when they're on YouTube browsing, etc. You need to get more involved by engaging with our content. After this video has been has ended, after this video stream has ended, please go into the comment section and comment and like and engage with the content. And then if you want to see our content more often on YouTube, you'd have to engage with our content as well after this video stream has ended. So please get involved with that. Smash that like button, etc. Please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to discussing this with you guys. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with the second test between South Africa and the West Indies. And what a day to be a South African. First and foremost, this weekend has been excellent from a sporting perspective for me personally, but also for most South Africans. We had the started off with the Springboks beating Australia away in a second test match against them. Then we had the Proteas that secured a victory against the West Indies. And then we had Dricus du Plessis, fantastic against uh, Israel Adesanya to to defend his belt in the UFC. So I was up throughout the night, obviously waiting for this particular match, and I'm a little bit still quite tired from watching the card. It was an excellent UFC card, I feel, and a lot of great fights. But that fight in particular was fantastic to actually witness. So congratulations to Dricus du Plessis for pulling off a magnificent victory. What a fight it was! It was really entertaining, and also the sportsmanship that was on display after the match was over. I think it was brilliant. Um, Hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie, and still. That is the only lines that I want to leave you guys with before we continue with this review. So let's get into this review. Um, it's interesting. I thought that it was going to be one of those days again when we got that notification that I got the message that the match was going to be delayed due to rain, and that's how proceedings started. Obviously, South Africa won 223 for 5 at the start of the day. Vian Mulder was on 50. Vian Mulder was on 34, and Calvareno was on 50, not out. And I thought that, like I said in the review show on yesterday's show, I said we're going to need to have these two players really survive and bat well together and put on a decent total. And I felt that both could maybe kick on and score milestones, bigger milestones. Obviously, Calvareno scoring. I wanted to see him score a century. That is well overdue. And then also Vian Mulder getting that milestone that he's been craving in Test cricket. But things didn't go to plan from a South African standpoint. Vian Mulder, unfortunately, he couldn't survive at the crease and add to his tally, overnight tally. He was out for 34. And we only added one run to the total since he came out into the middle. And I also felt that he could have prevented his wicket. I think it was a very poor shot selection from him. I mean, playing off the back foot against the spinner isn't the smartest idea, I feel, or the most logical idea, or to to do that in this match. And he did that, and ended up losing his wicket as a regard, getting caught LBW, or trapped LBW, um, which wasn't the best bit of choices, I felt, from a shot selection perspective, trying to play off the back foot against the spinner. So we started off the match just 6 balls into the match, and 1 over into the match, and already losing a wicket. So that was the worst possible start. And then Maharaj again disappointed with the bat. Another duck from Keshav Maharaj. So a pair in this particular match. Um, Poor shot selection or execution of the shot as well. That was, you know, there was a lengthy delivery in line with the stumps, and Maharaj just clipped it straight to mid wicket. And that was a little bit sad, really sad, because I really wanted someone to maybe fight with Calvarena and take the pressure off him in a way, so that he can, build momentum before he tries to play some, cricket shots to try and get to that big milestone. But unfortunately, they only managed to add another 3 runs before the next wicket fell, and it was only just under an over until Keshav Maharaj lost his wicket from when Vian Mulder lost his wicket. So we were 232, 227 for 7 after Maharaj's wicket. And that caused more problems, because now Kyle would have to bat with the tail to try and push on and try to add more runs to the tally. And he only managed to score 59, and wickets continued to tumble. It was Jaden Seals. He was the main guy here to like completely obliterate our tail in the end, taking out Calvarena, taking out um, Mulder, as well as taking the final wicket of the innings, Nandre Berger, for a duck as well. And he was helped by Warwick, of course, who dismissed KG Rabada. After Verena fell, KG never lasted that long. They pushed them close to the 250-run mark at least. We were 6 runs shy before KG lost his wicket, and then Nande Berger couldn't last either. Pitt looked again like he was going to settle himself in, and he looked like decent actually at the crease again with a bat, which is a promising sign for South Africa and the future of South Africa, that we can have someone like Dane Pitt that does look comfortable with the bat as well, um, at the in the middle. But Jaden Seals has to be given a lot of credit. He got 6 for 60. He ended with 6 for 61 in his spell, with an economy of 3.26, and he bowled 18.4 overs. So a bulk of the overs was bowled by him, and he needs to get credit for restricting South Africa. We scored 246, and we were all out at that stage. So overall, um, not the best end to our innings, I would say. Uh, I feel that we could have done a lot better from a South African standpoint with a bat and pushed on a lot more. I mean, I wanted South Africa to score, have a lead of at least 300, minimum 300. That was my sort of wish for them. Um, I thought that that would have put them 100% in the driving seat, and for me personally, would have probably solidified that possible victory for them even more. But they only managed to get a lead of 263. And with the amount of days left in the match, that was a bit scary from a South African standpoint. That was a bit nervy from a South African standpoint. But the West Indies didn't do themselves any favor with their batting performance, I have to say. Uh, they started off again with an early breakthrough, and this time around, it was Louis again that had a poor performance. And Kagiso Rabada was the guy to take the wicket in the fifth over, just off, just halfway through the fifth over. And they were rocked back 12 for 1 after 4.4 overs. Then they kicked on a little bit to get themselves past the 50-run mark, but then Mulder got the wicket of Brathwaite. So Mulder leading the charge once again and doing well with the ball, because he took another wicket thereafter as they passed 62 runs in the 22nd over by removing Kisi Kati with a brilliant delivery. He obviously chopped it on. Uh, he only managed 17 runs, and South Africa were on top. They would West Indies down 62 for 3. And now you would start to feel it. You could start to feel a victory coming closer and closer and closer. And all of us would have been probably feeling that it is now time for us to restrict them even further, because now they did manage to chip away to at least uh, to at least make it close to 200. They obviously chipped away, and it was like 201 lead deficit for them at that particular time when Casey Carty lost his wicket. They managed to chip away further at the total, and further at the deficit with their captain. Um, sorry, I'm lying. It wasn't the captain. It was with Kavem Hodge. He was brilliant. Not brilliant, I would say, but he was decent for his 29 of 38 deliveries. And then we struck again with Rabada, and this would take Rabada to in touching distance, literally getting closer to within touching distance of that 300 wicket mark. There were 99 for 4, the West Indies, after 31 overs, basically 30.5 overs. And it was a strange it was a good delivery from Rabada to remove Hodge. And then things got a little bit strange when Athanaze basically threw his wicket away, I would say. It seemed like he threw his wicket away. They just passed the 100-run mark, and then um, it seemed like he lost patience a bit. Um, it was a tossed up delivery by Dane Pitt, outside off, and he went for a big sweep, and he got the top edge of the bat, and it skied, and the keeper took the wicket, and he was on 15. He was looking quite settled when that happened, so that was a little bit quite shocking. And then Jason Holder, I mean, with the team on only 104, adding one more run, In the 36th over, he kind of went for a lofted shot and s- he hit it straight to long on, up in the air, straight to long on. And it was quite a shocking move for a duck after a great performance in his first innings. It was quite a shock to see him play that particular stroke. And they were down six after 404 after the 36th over. And then there was a little bit of a scare, a partnership brew from a South Africa, from a West Indies standpoint. A partnership grew quite steadily for a pair in the middle, and there was a little bit of a scare from a South African standpoint that I felt that was made us a little bit nervy. There was a 77-run partnership between Moti and Josh De Silva that really put us a little bit on the back foot. That really made things a little bit difficult from a South African standpoint, because we were hoping that we could have like cleaned things up at this stage, but that didn't end up happening. They put on a massive fight, and they made it very difficult for South Africa to just clinch the win immediately. Um, and yeah, they were brilliant, particularly Moti. He did all the hard work, Moti. He got himself to 45 or 59 balls. He batted at quite a decent strike rate, kept the runs ticking over, took the West Indies to 181 for 7. And then he was trapped LBW. Um, it was a massive appeal by the Proteas, and he was a little bit unlucky because if the umpire didn't give it out, I think he would have been safe. But he did give it out, and his review was unsuccessful. But he kept his review because it was just clipping uh, leg stump. So he got a little bit unlucky over there that the umpire gave it out. But I do feel that perhaps he could have maybe um, played a better shot over there. He also went back. He went to sweep it, but he got trapped in front on his front leg, and I felt that maybe that shot wasn't on um, at that particular stage. And now South Africa were going to start to believe, and they did start to believe, because shortly after they also dismissed Joshua De Silva, Maharaj trapping him LBW as well. It also clipped leg stump, and it was a massive blow at that point for the West Indies. They were 182 for 8 after 54.2 overs, and they were now really knocking on the door of a victory. But Warwicken, as he did throughout the Test match, made it difficult for South Africa, whether it was with the ball or whether it's now with the bat. He made South Africans nervous as as he mentioned, Mark Joseph. They took the team over the 200-run mark, but Rabada then took his 299th Test wicket to remove Shamar Joseph and celebrated. You could see how happy he was because they made them a little bit nervous there at the end. It was a little bit frustrating because he got 11 runs of 21 balls, and he was missing a lot of deliveries, and he wasn't necessarily falling into the traps that South Africa were laying out for him. So it was very bittersweet for the. It was very actually not bittersweet. It was very satisfying for South Africa to get that wicket of Samar Joseph, who did amazing damage to South Africa throughout this Test series. So Rabada took his third wicket by removing Shamar Joseph, and then Warwicken continued to try and farm the strike, and he did it pretty much successfully. He continued to farm the strike as much as he could and put on the runs. Even scared South Africa with a couple of boundaries, but he ran between the wickets quite well. And he gave Jaden Seals one ball too many to face in the end, and Maharaj clinched it. I think that Warwicken and West Indies would have probably been a bit disappointed um, with the way they were dismissed. But it was a fantastic piece of fielding from David Bedingham. He just clipped it off his legs, Seals, and the 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 fielder, um, um, the fielder wearing the helmet close to the batter, placed there as a trap. The FSL fielder, fine short leg, fine short stop, or whatever you could call it. He ended up catching taking a magnificent catch, um, to to clinch the victory for South Africa. West Indies only managing 222 for 10, and South Africa claiming a 40-run victory, in the end, quite comfortably in the end, even though there were a couple of scares. The man of the match, um, the man of the match for this match, or the player of the match for this particular test match, was Vian Mulder with his 4 for 32, his 34, and his 2 for 35. And the player of the series for 13 wickets was Keshav Maharaj. So Keshav was fantastic throughout this test series, and he deserves it. And Vian Mulder, um, surprisingly got the man of the match, I feel. Um, but nonetheless, I felt that he had a very good series with the ball and a decent series with the bat in performances here and there. We'd obviously like to see a lot. Um, was a lot more important from a South African perspective. We've been asking for for a complete performance with bat and ball from an all rounder for a while, and we saw a more holistic performance from an all rounder with regards to Vian Mulder. So congratulations to the Proteas, adding to that South African fire that we've had this weekend. Obviously, joining the Springboks and Dricus du Plessis in getting victories this weekend from a sporting perspective. And then from my perspective, obviously, personally, Man United also winning. So that was another extra bit of candy for me, or a little bit extra cherries on the top of the cake for me from a sporting weekend. So, yeah. Well done to South Africa for getting the victory. We are now, we have moved a little bit up the table on the World Test Championship table, but I do feel we still have to win all of our series to to make it into that WTC final. We are currently sitting fifth on the table, with 28 points. After 6 matches played, 2 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. We need to now beat Sri Lanka. We need to now beat Pakistan, and then climb up that table a little further, to try and make it over there, from that perspective. But all in all, a good series. I'm happy for the boys. I would have preferred a lot more clinical performances with the bat throughout this tour, and the bowlers were good. I think they were decent, defending lower totals, which was excellent from a bowling perspective. Vian Mulder playing really well with the ball. I think KJ Rabada doing his job, and Keshav Maharaj being outstanding. And then Nande Berger also coming in and taking a lot of more pressure off KJ Rabada in this test match from a seaming perspective. So all in all, I'm happy with this particular match. And I'm happy with the performance. And on to the next one when it comes to the test matches. We we're going to now have to work hard and practice to get closer and closer to the next series, and I hope that we can prepare ourselves the best as possible for the next major match from a South African standpoint, because it's always going to be hard for them to have these massive breaks in between series. That's always the big problem from a South African perspective, that there's so many big gaps between each series. But we do go to Bangladesh, for two. test matches next, October and November. That's, I think, is the next two test matches, if I'm not mistaken. And then it is the home test series between Sri Lanka and South Africa in November, December, and then the December, January period, we play Pakistan at home as well. So that's going to be a massive series to try and extend that lead, or extend to climb, or continue to climb the table by beating the next team and opposition. So we've got a caller on the line. I'm going to allow him to come on and give his say before I get into the live chat and read your comments. So Aswani, welcome to the show again, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah,
And let's have your say.
yeah. Hello, Khalid. How are you?
I'm good,
Yeah,
thank you. Just a little bit tired. Stayed up for the UFC fighting, so I'm gonna need to catch up with sleep after this.
yeah. Same here. Yeah, I think South Africa has done exceedingly well in this match, and this is expected from South Africa as well because they are much better side than West Indies for me. But I think if you see South Africa in the past 2 3 years, they are, you can say that, in transition phase. And although their bowling departments looks very solid with the addition of Nandre Berger, Gerald Coetzee, Lizard Williams is also a very good bowler, and obviously the likes of Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Ngidi, and Rick Nokia. They have a very solid bowling attack. Obviously, the big 6'8" Marco Johnson is also. So they have a good pool of fast bowlers there. But I think uh, if you saw the upcoming series, I think the main worrying factor for me for South African team is their batting lineup. I think uh, they don't have that strong batting core yet, which I want to see. Because if you see in these two test series, there's a performances from the batsmen. If you see the likes of Tristan Stubbs, he scored good 70s or 80s in first test. Then Kyle Virane chipped some runs, 50s. But I think if you want to compete with big teams like Australia, England, India, and the upcoming league, South Africa need a strong core of batting lineup, and they need a type of batsman which can serve them from 5 to 10 years. If you see, Tamba Vuma is, I think, around 34. David Bedingham is, I think, in his early 30s. Tristan Stubbs, very good young batsman, but I think he has a lot to prove. It's his second series after India series. And if you see the Kyle Virane, Vian Mulder, they are good players. Tony DeRozzi is impressive player, but I think I need bit more from South Africa batting lineup. This batting lineup looks me more mediocre. If I am brutally honest, if I want this South African team to play in Australia against England, I need more from them. I expect more from this batting lineup. Obviously, it will take time, but I think bowling lineup is good. They need to work on their batting lineup. Yeah.
So if you have to say like how they can improve, for me, when I mentioned it on the review show yesterday, I spoke about the batting lineup, and I was a little bit critical of them. But do you think that that will just come right with the more games that they play, or do you feel that there is a lot of technical work that needs to be done here? Because from my perspective, a lot of the time over here, it's us getting ourselves out rather than the opposition getting us out in many cases when it comes to our batters. So, what do you feel that we can do to improve and get better down the line?
I think both things. I think South Africa need more Test cricket, and I think it's a very, you can say that, alarming that the team like South Africa, which has a rich tradition in Test cricket, they don't get enough Test cricket. Obviously, due to the broadcaster factors, and red ball cricket don't invite much viewership. And cricket is not, you can say that, very famous in South Africa. Obviously, people like cricket. They are all are going towards T20 cricket, white ball format cricket. So I think it's not very easy to bring viewers to watch red ball cricket. But I am very hopeful regarding that, because there is a culture of cricket in South Africa. So people normally comes to see Boxing Day test, and when the Test cricket season is going in South Africa in the late November to mid Feb. So I think in that regard I am a bit positive. And one more positive thing is that Cricket South Africa is providing A tours, emerging sides. Emerging side is, I think, touring Zimbabwe as well. We saw very good young talent there, and also a team, I think, touring Sri Lanka, if I am not wrong. So I think in that regard they are doing well. But I think South African cricket need lot more Test cricket. If you come to their batting abilities, I think obviously you can refine your technique little bit as you plays. But I think in this form of cricket you need mental strength a lot. As a Richie Bennett said that 10% technique, or you can say 90% mental strength. So I think in that regard, they all are good players, but I think the one thing they lacks less Test cricket. So South African team needs more Test cricket, and they deserve, because what we saw in South African team from 2010 to 2016, the likes of Amla, Kellis, Dale Steyn, Morne Morkels, Duplessis, you can take the name. So we all love that South African team. We want to see them in red ball cricket. As a purist, I want to see them. I
Hmm.
don't know about rest of the guys, but as a cricket purist, I want that South Africa to uh, play against Australia, England, and give them the tough fight. If you saw that recent Australia series, they looks very ordinary team, and it's very you can say that sad to see that South Africa performing that poorly in Australia. Obviously, they win in West Indies. Winning in West Indies is not an easy task, because this West Indies team at their home is very good team, because they have the bunch of bowlers who can trouble any batsman on their given day.
Hmm.
The likes of Jaden Seals, Kemar Roach, who comes as a 150 fast bowler, but over the years with his shoulder injury, he developed into a very good seam bowler. Then the guy Shamar Joseph, who's a revelation after that Brisbane Test, and the one guy, another Joseph, who didn't play in this Test series. So they have a very good uh, bowling lineup. And one thing you need to understand, that West Indies is playing with Duke's ball,
Hmm.
and with the Duke's ball, the batting is not very easy. And this is one of the main reasons why their fast bowlers is successful in their own condition, because they know how to you can say that use the
Manipulate
Duke's
it.
ball. Yes, yes. And one of the main reasons that why South Africa persisted Vian Mulder, because Vian Mulder is playing county cricket for, I think, the past 1 or 2 years,
Yeah.
and he knew how to use the Duke's ball. And many my South African friends, they don't like Vian Mulder, I know, but yeah, they are right in that way, that he didn't perform in batting department as that one which we expected from him, because Vian Mulder, I saw him from 2016 from under 19 World Cup. I saw his progress and tracking his progress. The positive thing about Vian Mulder is that he increases his pace. If you saw, he bowling in mid 130s
Yeah.
in this Test series, and he looks more penetrating. That's a positive thing for me with the ball. But in batting, I think he needs to work in his batting if he want to. You can say keep his place in South African team, and I think many people will not agree with me. I think he is the best all-rounder at the moment. Obviously, they will take the debate of Pretorius as well, other guys as well. But for me, for the combination of the things, that South Africa should persist with Ian Mulder long, because obviously they get very less Test cricket, and if they remove one or two players, then they always in the transition phase. So I think I want a settled batting group from 1 to 7 in the upcoming series. They need to pick the players who can serve them from 5 to 10 years, whether they pick the likes of uh, Zubair Hamza, who I know that he doesn't perform that well in New Zealand. So they need to pick the guys who can perform them to 5 to 10 years. Obviously, they done well in bits and pieces in batting, but I'm not happy with their batting,
Hmm.
if you take my opinion.
Uh, Thank you very much, Shashwani. I think I agree with a lot of the things that you have said there. So thank you for calling in and having your say. I'll speak to you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cool. So brilliant. A lot of the things he said there, I agree with, and I've said on the show already. So that's always nice to hear. I don't always want people to agree with me, but it's nice to hear it when people do. But his points were brilliant. I think that he made a lot of sense over there with a lot of the things that he had to say. So let me just get some of the comments in the section. Uh, the Sherpa ZA said 3-day test match, but also still old school test match cricket. Hugely satisfying. Dex says we won. Moti was the threat. No Warrigan. Um, Dex says Khalid will Proteas to Bangladesh now that the ICC pulls out T20 World Cup women from there. I'm not sure. I haven't heard. I've tried to research it and check online, but I didn't see anything talking about it. It is scheduled on the FTC. Sorry, on the FTP. What am I talking about? World TC, WTC, FTP. On the FTP, but we haven't heard any news regarding that quite yet. Taim says we have best opportunity maybe in the history to reach the WTC final. We have all test series against easy teams, no single big team like England, Australia, or India. I don't think there's any good easy team in test cricket. So yeah, I disagree over there. The Sherpas here there said Burger was disappointing. KG was really good. I don't think Burger was that disappointing. Maybe you could say from a wickets perspective, the amount of wickets he maybe took, you would have maybe wanted more from that. But I felt that he shared the responsibility of overs with KG quite well, and he took wickets as well. So I think he did a decent job. Um, w- Berger is best when the ball is swinging around, when there is swinging conditions, and that didn't happen today in this particular series. The ball was, though, angling off the pitch quite nicely. Vishal says next test series, South Africa, when and where? I've already answered that. Taim says Dex, I'm also still confused about SA versus Bangladesh test series. Some websites mention it and some not exactly. And I'm also quite confused about it. We will wait and hear what they have to say. They obviously have to announce it very soon so that we know what's going down there with regards to that, because we can't just um keep it quiet right now. It's around the corner if it is scheduled, when it is scheduled, if it is going to happen when it has been scheduled, because obviously next up it's again T20s. I'm not looking forward to this to covering this. The only reason that it gives me a little bit of satisfaction to cover it is because we got a new, young, exciting squad over here. I feel with some players that I would like to see get an opportunity. That's the only positive thing for me. Otherwise, it's another T20 series. We got the same team before the T20 World Cup, and now we're getting them again afterwards. And it starts on Friday, the 23rd of August. That will be the first T20. Bryce says Vian deserved it. He played well. NY Times Square says all six remaining tests win as high possible. Must qualify for the WTC final. Let's go. Tex says, I think SA tour of Bangladesh won't go ahead or won't happen in Bangladesh. Yeah, there is some problems happening over there. People need to refresh their outlook on Vian. He is clearly not the same player. He has improved a little bit. Um, I think he's improved a little bit with regards to the batting confidence that he's showing, but he's putting in exactly the same performances that he was putting in, taking wickets and scoring 40s. We need him to kick on now and score half centuries when he's settled, when he's done all the hard work. Go on and push on, score some half centuries over there and deep, and maybe even a century too. A to Z says, I think that tour against Bangladesh will be held in March next year. That's why it's not showing anywhere. Okay. And then Daim says, why and Gidi is in the T20I side. Um, I mean, I think he's pretty good in T20s. And I think because he hasn't really gotten up, he was in the World Cup squad as a backup and never really got a run out. So they're giving him more game time to play in the T20s. But yeah, that's next for us. And that's what we're going to be covering here on Cricket Fanatics magazine. So thanks a lot, everybody, for watching and tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. After we end the stream, please go into the comment section and comment and smash a like on the video. It's very important that you do so. Rana says, if the ICC pull the World Cup from Bangladesh, then we definitely won't go either. Huge security risk. Maybe play in the UAE. That's what I'm waiting for. We won't probably go to Bangladesh. I was thinking maybe they would move it because you can't have it in March on the cycle ends in January. Exactly. So they're going to have to move it to a different place. So that is something that's going to need to happen from a South African standpoint. Um, I mean, we do play Afghanistan in the UAE as well. They announced that uh, a, an unnecessary tour there, um, a white ball tour. I don't understand. Um, so that's going to be happening as well from a South African standpoint a little bit later in the year. But let's wait and see with regards to the news on the test matches. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. S- all the news was around this test match, and we haven't heard anything from them regarding the matches against Afghanistan, against Bangladesh, and whether it's going to be pushed or whatever the case may be. So we need it. We need the match. Um, we need the points. So I hope that they get it done and they tell us so that we can start planning the rest of our schedules, etc., for this particular test matches. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys also enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget to comment in the comment section after we end the stream. Smash a like button as well and share this video far and wide with as many people as you can. Thanks a lot for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace out, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.